persistence, dedication, and input from others. Where focus goes, energy flows. So focus your energy on continuous learning and stop wasting time thinking about looking smart. Build resistance, build vulnerability, build courageousness, and face adversity with a smile. Become comfortable with uncomfortable. You know, the only person that you need to prove anything to is you. Imperfect action trumps perfect inaction. Stop wasting time and get on with it. Failure is part of learning, so start learning by taking action.
Kristian Livolsi, welcome to the hot seat. It is Tuesday. What is happening in your world?
Look, everything. We've got our intensive event coming up for our clients in Brisbane this week. So all the printing is arrived. It's in boxes here in our Adelaide office, and then everyone's going to convene into Brisbane on Thursday. It's going to be epic. It's going to be 3 days of lots of work and lots of fun, and we all know how much I love to get in there and do the work. So not sure everyone else is looking forward to that much work in that short a period of time, but I certainly do, Simone.
Absolutely. It is one of my favourite things. Well, it's probably actually my favourite thing of what we have in our Evolve program. So I'm super excited. And I really hope that it's warmer there than what it is in Sydney. And I know Adelaide's been freezing as well. So hopefully we get some warmer weather.
You know, you love talking about the weather. It's got to be your favourite topic. I've come to the conclusion you love the weather.
The other week we were talking about what brings us joy, and what was one of the things that brought me joy was sunshine, right? I think I was made for Mediterranean lifestyle, not here in cold Sydney.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cold everywhere. Winter is here. The farmers have got water. Vanessa and Jason were going to box a super pump. They got some water, and that'd be great for them. And then they had a bushfire all on the same day. It was like, what? We weren't expecting that. So the life of a farmer.
It was intense. That's right. But that's not what we're here to talk about today.
What are we here to talk about, Simone?
Well, I want to talk about MVPs, which is minimal viable products.
Oh, okay, great. Because I thought you were talking about me, most valuable player. Right? Okay, right. So, no, you're talking about minimum viable product. All right, cool.
Minimum viable products. And I'm curious to dig into this with our audience and see whether people really have thought about this very much. So let's go straight into my first question. And that is, what does it mean to have a minimum viable product? What is it?
No, I'm just hearing the suspense. A minimum viable product, or what we call an MVP, not to be confused with most valuable player, of course, is a fundamental concept that we use in startup land, but also around product development world. So it really kind of made famous by the Lean Startup and by Eric Nies. That's his book. But we've been playing this game for a long time, and in tech companies, we've been playing this game for a very long time. Now, what it does, it refers to the most basic version of any product that can be released to the market, okay? And, you know, once upon a time in technology, it used to be tech-related, but now it's anything. An MVP has just enough features to satisfy early adopters or early customers and provides you a fabulous feedback loop to guide future development, right? So this approach actually helps businesses, Simone, start their process of learning as quickly as possible, rather than actually investing a shitload of time and resources into building a product with features that customers don't necessarily want, right? Now, I want to just probably talk a little bit about why it's actually important, because a lot of people sort of get the concept, but then, you know, some people might be saying, oh, great, you haven't taught me anything new. Yeah, that's great, smartass, but why is it actually important, right? So the importance of an MVP lies in its efficiency as well as its strategic focus on building and improving your business offering. Okay, so there are four key areas that I always say to people to think about. You know, one, it's all about risk reduction. It's about the feedback and adaptability and adaptation. It's about building really good customer relationships early. You if people know that you're going to be a screw up at the beginning because it's an MVP, they're going to be far more open to letting you do what you need to do. And normally an MVP comes with a significant price reduction too. So what this actually does do is actually gets you to market faster though. So, for example, when we created our Customers on Demand program, and I love telling this story because we actually teach exactly how we did it in our MVP modules, is that we basically say, well, we signed up the first 10 people without even having the program built. Then we went and built it, and then we went and did iterations of it. And that's why anyone who signs up will find that a lot of the videos that I filmed, I was actually in different hotel rooms all around the world. And that was because they're the videos we've not had to change. Because all of a sudden they were the things that people went, oh my God, this is really good. But some of the other stuff, we've actually gone and changed. We've actually gone and made better through that first year iteration of getting those first 10 people through, and then getting the next 10 people through and testing that, and then the next 10 people through. And, now we're talking 60, 70, 80, soon to be 100 students that have gone through the program. And, if they do the work and if they watch the videos, they get the results. And then we build again. So, it's whether or not we added an extra call, like a live coaching call for the week, or whether we added, training. Now, we were doing extra weekly live training. We've now pulled that out because listening to the feedback from people, they're like, nah, it's all too much. There's too much going on. So we pulled that out. We've put that up into our growth school where the bigger customers, they're getting they need that extra bit of marketing help and other bits and pieces, and we can tailor training to their needs. So, but look, I know it's all talk, so why don't I just give you guys a really cool case study? I think Dropbox is a real classic example of using an MVP to scale its business. And initially, the Dropbox team actually realized that creating the product would require significant resources as well as time. And so instead of fully developing the service, they released a video explaining how Dropbox would work. Which targeted a tech-savvy audience. Now, the video went viral and significantly increasing the number of people on their waiting list overnight. Now, this validated the demand without actually building any product first, enabling them to secure funding and scale with confidence. And we all know the value of Dropbox, don't we? And what it's been able to do. So, an MVP is not just about building a product. It's about structuring your development process to learn quickly, adapt efficiently, and engage directly with your target market. Let me just tell you that again. It's about learning quickly, adapting efficiently, and engaging directly with your target market. Now, this approach is less about making immediate profits and more about reducing your long-term risk, as well as building a product that aligns well within your market demand. Okay, so that's why I think it's important to really explain why. Because, as I said, there's a lot of smart asses out there that go, I've got a product. Well, have you stress tested it? Have you actually worked out why no one wants it? Right? So many people that come to us are like, I kind of know what I'm doing, but you don't, right? Like you've not even gone and done the foundations or the basics. And by the way, I have no idea why my camera is looking at me really blurrily, so I apologize.
It almost looks a little bit blurry, yeah. It's interesting that you say that about the Dropbox example, and it's something that I've noticed more and more when I've listened to some podcasts and other things, and we've been talking about this internally as well. Companies like Rolex, who put out things on a waiting list before they develop the next watch, and even Tesla, they're testing and they're putting out these wait lists is almost the same principle as an MVP, that they're seeing what the market demand is before they go and do it. And, it takes me back to, I wish I knew this early on in my fitness business. And when I come to meet you and you were mentoring in my business, the first thing you told me is that I built the Taj Mahal when no one was standing at the door yet. So I definitely fell into the trap of building out this perfect product without even having those first couple of hundred people come through. Okay, so... Can
I just add, just like I said, it's not just about startups though. Like we now use the MVP development program, development process everywhere, right? We use a lean framework, and it doesn't matter how many products. Like, if I'm releasing a new product in an established company that I own, I still go through the same process and go, well, hang on, like COD. COD was our latest product 18 months ago, latest product, but even our Evolve program, which is about to be called a new name, now will have 4 entry tiers because we are. We realise that there is a lot of support that this middle market needs that no one is servicing. People say they are, but they're just teaching them how to run fucking ads, right? And so it's really shit. Like I look at I look at all these people, and I love all these people that are out there doing something and making millions of dollars. It's great. But there is more to the world than teaching someone how to do ads, right? And so if you're one of those people listening today and you're getting caught up in the who do I choose, just choose someone who just doesn't do ads. Because, yes, ads is going to get you to a certain point, and then you're going to be stuck. You know, I've been having lots of conversations this week with people that are stuck at that $1 million mark, and they're all saying to me, Kristian, I'm stuck at making $1 million revenue. Tell me, how much are you spending on ads? Oh, $500,000. I said, so you're not stuck at $1 million. You're stuck at $500,000. Now, what about all your costs? I'm not making any money. Of course you're not making any money. You haven't even actually worked out what you're selling, how you're selling, and who you're selling it to. Oh, but I'm doing $1 million. No. The ads are getting you $1 million, and you're finding enough stupid people that are prepared to buy your product, right? And by that, I'm not trying to insult people as stupid, right? What actually happens is that you don't know what you don't know. And so people get caught up in, if it's working for that person, I've got to do it. Well, no, you're just going into a cesspool of the same shit, right? Like, we were talking the other day in our program, and I was saying to people, guys, there are other things other than running ads. There's other things other than posting content. You can go and do a letterbox drop. Simone, what do? We went from 0 to 50,000 in your business just from doing letterbox drops. 0 to 50, 0 to 50. Like, what the hell, people? Like, it ain't that hard, right? And that's with an online fitness business. Does that make sense? So like, we went old school, right? There is a whole bunch of other shit that you can do. You can write a letter to someone, right? You how many businesses come in and they've never even heard of sell by direct message, and it's like, what? You're not having a conversation. You're not finding your ideal target market. I know I digress, but this is so important to the listeners out there.
For people to come to them, right? They're like, where is everyone? I'm doing all these things and they're not coming to me.
I live in hope, my friends. Oh, far out. Help yourself, right? Help yourself.
That's it. All right, let's move on to question 2 then. Does every business need to have an MVP?
Ooh, no, right? The answer is no, but let me answer it. So the necessity of an MVP depends actually on the nature of the business, the industry, as well as the specific goals of the product or service that you are actually trying to develop. However, in many scenarios, particularly say in startups and any technology-driven organization, having an MVP can be extremely advantageous. Now, coaching businesses, please listen to me. I'm not a coach to coaches, but we seem to have a lot of coaches that want to work with me right now, right? And I certainly am not the right person if you want to coach you in your coaching business, right? Like, it's not me. But if you want to grow your coaching business or any service-based business, then yes. But in the coaching business, an MVP is critical. You've got to actually look at your own product that you're selling right now. If you're stuck, and actually break it down into the modulation and say, have I built something that nobody wants? Now, it's already too late, but you can build the next iteration using a great framework, right? So it's not just startups and technology businesses, okay? But that's the area. So, an MVP is critical for them because it's all around that innovative new product or service offering, okay? Technology-driven ventures, right? They evolve really quickly and really rapidly. So that's really important. I mean, I was listening to, oh my God, brain fade, but Diary of CEO.
Stephen.
Yeah, Stephen. Yeah. And I was listening to him.
I love that.
And he was talking about, I think, law number 5 or whatever it is, that he has the 31, 33 laws. And, he comes from a social media background too. He started a social media company with a whole bunch of other 19, 20-year-olds. And the amount of technology, evolution that is now occurring within 1 year is the equivalent of, say, 50 years. Now, don't quote me on the stats. The stats were even more ludicrous than that, right? So we're going to be consuming that. So that's why an MVP is so critical at that point. And in startups, especially if you're seeking investment, like, the Dropbox story is such a unique story because they didn't even have to go build a product. They just told people what they were going to get. People got excited. They signed up to the waiting list. The waiting list that was then used to go out and raise millions of dollars in seed funding. Right, so use your brain, be smart, right? And again, you don't know what you don't know, so surround yourself with people that actually have the answers and are prepared to share them with you. And so I guess that's it. Now, when an MVP might not be necessary, that could be in say like an established market or well-defined products. So for businesses in any kind of stable markets with customer expectations and say product standards are really well established, developing a full-featured product might actually be more appropriate than an MVP. Okay, so lots of really big examples of well-established industries that are not, say, technology-driven might be the accounting industry, right? The legal industry. It could be the creatives industry. All right. So then you've got some service-based businesses. Now, the reason why I say that is service-orientated business, especially those that deal in personalized services, like allied health. We do a lot of work in allied health. May not benefit from much of any kind of MVP unless they're a psychologist who wants to specialize in an ADHD program. And I say that because we have a client who is doing that, and has an excellent practice, is already making plenty of money, but she's a solo business person doing it all, doesn't want to employ people. So she's pivoting to, well, how do I build a program that I can go one-to-many for something that she's passionate about, which is children with ADHD. And why? Because most entrepreneurs, business people, we all have ADHD. When I got diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 7, everyone thought that I was, disabled. It turns out they're partially right. But the truth is now I'm a cool kid, right, with ADHD, and I'm certainly not a kid. I'm becoming an old man, as my son reminded me this morning. And I coloured my beard on the weekend because it was white, and now it's still kind of white, so I might need to go to a different shade of dark. But this is the kind of fun that we have, right? But the whole idea is, I'm a big believer, because I'm a solution seeker, that there is always an opportunity behind every challenge, right? And also behind every problem there is a solution. And so it's really important that, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I'm trying to justify that, yes, a lot of service-based business, like if you're a physiotherapist, there is no real need to do an MVP. People are coming to you for certain things. If you are a psychologist that wants to create a program, fine. But, for example, we've got another client who's a pharmacist, and she wants to support people with ADHD to understand medication. Now, that's a cool little pivot, but you would never expect a pharmacist to be able to go and develop an MVP because they are a dispensing service, right? With an advisory side. And she's an amazing human being too. So shout out to you, Susan. So look, and to Alison, I should probably give her a shout out. That she's probably getting upset that I didn't. So the other thing is, highly regulated industries don't service the need for an MVP because they're heavily regulated. There's very little movement. However, again, I have an amazing client. They own a day hospital. I'm their chief advisor and their chairman of the board. And we built an MVP 6 years ago for that product in a very heavily regulated industry because it was so innovative and new. So even though I'm saying that some of these things don't, generally speaking, you don't need them in those industries, or a bit harder. But if you're looking to be cutting edge, then you will have to go down there. I'll give you a good example of say, an organization that needs it, Zappos, right? So say the online shoe and clothing retailer, it offers an insightful example of an MVP approach in a non-tech industry, right? So I think the founder was Nick Swinburne. No, Nick Swinburne, right, was the actual founder of Zappos, and he was unsure about the market viability for selling shoes online, right? So instead of building a full e-commerce store, he approached local shoe stores, took photos of their inventory, posted them online, and then bought the shoes at the retail price to fulfill orders when the sales were made. Really clever. Now, this MVP approach allowed him to validate the business concept with a minimal upfront investment. Okay, and there are lots of other examples like Zappos. So I know I gave you a really, really long answer to that question, and we've lost a lot of viewers in that time because I probably said too many swear words. But we're only live on YouTube because Facebook integration didn't work, and something didn't work with the LinkedIn integration. So I'm just checking. We are only live on one. So yes, it sucks. We only have 1,000 viewers. I just made that number up, by the way.
We'll share this back up onto our other platforms later. But Delivering Happiness is the name of the book that Tony wrote about the Zappos story, and that was the first business book I ever read, actually, and it's a fantastic read. If you love an underdog story, that is definitely a book to read. Highly recommended. Okay, let's move into the third question I have for you today. And what I wanted to ask is, what are the components that I need to consider about creating an MVP? So
Just
what do I need?
just jump to the third question every week, and you get free training, right? Like seriously, if I could drop the mic, I would. Okay, and walk away from this right now. I just kicked my side camera like high. Look, creating a minimum viable product is a strategic approach, Simone, that's aimed at testing and validating all your business concepts with minimal risk. And I hope that after answering the first two questions, people have understood that. So really, when designing the MVP, there are a whole bunch of components that are really important. So one is, what's the core value proposition? So you need to identify the fundamental problem that your product solves. That's it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go into that any more than that because that's
like giving so many people even miss that step, right?
Yeah, but that's going to. If I go into more detail, I'm going to give away the entire how-to of how we do it. If you want to know how, you're going to have to spend some cash and join our program for $110 a week. I know, $110 a week. Why do I do it? Because I love it. Key features and functionality are really important. So what you need to do is determine the essential core features that will demonstrate your product's value with the least amount of work. Okay, so that's really important. These features should actually be sufficient to make the product usable and to solicitate useful information. Okay, from users. Particularly, I'm all about feedback, as you know. Positive, negative, constructive. I don't give a shit how it comes to me, as long as it comes to me. Then there's the UX side. So in technology, we talk about that as the user experience. And I don't know how I'm getting a phone call because everything's on D&D. Apple, sort your shit out. Even in simplest form, your MVP should offer a clear and intuitive user experience, okay? So it should offer a clear and intuitive user experience. And I'm going to stop on that because, again, that's going to give away too much. But scalability is the other thing, right? So consider the future scalability of the product from the onset. You need to know where your destination is or stage one of your destination before you roll it out. So you've got to have the end in mind all the time. You've also got to integrate effective tools and methods for collecting user feedback. Otherwise, there's no point in going through the process of MVP. I see people go and create an MVP and then they don't listen to the feedback. And it's like, what the hell are you doing? Right? And I've seen big companies do this, right? Because as an angel investor, I get a lot of things thrown at my way and I get people stress testing their MVPs on me, and then I give them feedback, and sometimes I give them feedback that isn't actually real to see if the founders are listening, because before I want to invest money into their company, I want to see that they're actually coachable. And the irony of it is they don't listen. They say, yeah, that's great, and then you go, okay, send me your revised MVP like 2 weeks later, and I send it to you, and there's no changes made, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. So you decided against that, and they go, well, no, we were thinking of integrating. I'm like, if you integrated that, you would have gone broke. And then you see people who actually integrate shit without even checking as well. And like, I give them stupid shit, and they integrate something, and they're like, oh man, that is so cool. And I was like, so cool what? It's a dumb idea. I gave it to you to see if you actually could think. And then they're like, so I guess you're not investing in us. I'm absolutely not. Right? So, just be careful that, when you get advice, that you might be being tested yourself on your own MVP. Then you've got to have just a couple more things. You've got to have some success metrics, and you've got to have time and budget constraints, right? Tech companies in particular, they love having these super extended, it'll be done when it gets done. No. It's going to be done tomorrow, right? And be realistic. I'll give you a really good example. Airbnb's initial MVP is a really cool example of focusing on core functionality in order to test their business idea. So what did the founders do? They started by renting out air mattresses in apartments to attendees of local conferences where the hotels were fully booked, right? And they created a simple website that featured photos of their living space and offered them a free homemade breakfast. Okay. This basic setup was enough to validate demand for a more cost-effective personal alternative to hotels, leading to what is now Airbnb, ladies and gentlemen, today. So, I've done a lot of work in this space, and so, you kind of have to when you are become the inaugural entrepreneur and resident of a Sandstone University. So I went through a crash course on all of this, and I've got the book right here. I highly recommend. That people get their hands on this book. This book. This book, right in front of my face. This book. Right? The reason why it is a really simple book. Probably don't need to read the entire thing. But if you can get your head around it and understand the lean canvas, then you are going to be a mile ahead of anyone else. And that's a lot of the future corporate people who are working for other people who think they've got a great product and think they're better than their boss and think they're going to get out there and make millions. Be really careful. Only about 7% of people that start a business go and create an income for themselves that's greater than $90,000 a year. So just think, you to be in that majority, 7%, you got to be really good. And this is one of the things you need to do. So,
That's really insightful. And what the one thing that's coming up for me right now is you didn't even talk about price. When you think about a minimum viable product, you think, oh, okay, it's just the price. Where am I starting at? Where's my pricing going? And there's so much more to it than that, which is just fascinating.
Yeah, look, price is really... I had another client message me earlier going, sales are down, I feel stuck. And I'm like, well, I've told you what you need to do for the last 3 weeks. Go back to basics. Oh, but even sales are stuck. I said, tell me, what are the objections? It's price. And then the next sentence I said, really, is it price? Oh, no. I said, you know what it is? Are you using a script anymore? Oh, no, I'm the boss. I don't need to use a script. I'm just taking the piss, right? And so I just sent him a message back. I said, listen, go back to basics. You're not a fucking rock star, right? A lot of the time what happens is as soon as we feel a little bit of pressure and we're under the pump, we start to make mistakes. And this is why you've got to have a system and a process and a routine and a benchmark that you can go back to all the time, Simone. And this is probably why we love what we do. We establish so many accountability matrices for our clients that they can't escape, right? Mm-hmm. In our program, the larger program, the reason why I'm not saying evolve is we're changing the name, but that's one of the biggest things. People can't escape the routine that we create for them. The structure, the game plans, the 90-day game plans, the 30-day game plans. This June is when we do our annual review of all the strategic goals and see if they're in alignment with their 3-year strategic goals. And some people are coming up to next year. It'll be the 3rd year of our program, and a lot of those people are going to be coming to that 3rd year, and we're going to have to revise the long-term vision. And so I'm already planning that. I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to do that? I'm going to need a whole day just to do that. And so it's a lot of fun. But you've got to... A lot of people don't... They don't make the decisions they need to make in order to position themselves where they really need to be, right? And yet they blame every circumstance that they're in when it's actually the decisions that they have made or chosen not to make that has led them to where they are. And I feel bad, because my whole game is to change the world one person at a time, starting with me. And let me tell you, I was there once too, until I finally realised that. I need a bit of order and structure in my life. How am I going to get that? Well, let me go and find out who the best people are in the market to do that, and then let me listen to them, because I'm paying them, and I hate paying for things that I don't use. So just like subscriptions that I don't use, that don't work, like Ecamm that 1 week works and then another week doesn't work. But there you go, kick the other camera again. But look, these were really great questions, Simone, and I hope that people. That have been live have paid attention to them and enjoyed the chat. But I think more importantly, anyone who re-watches this, I think it's I'm almost thinking we don't actually put this up anywhere else. We actually take it down and stick it in as an extra bonus video into the course, because I think some of our customers need to hear this, or some of our members need to hear this, because they don't follow the footprint all the time, and then they come back and ask questions, and it's like, you didn't follow the process. Man, if you'd watched this 29-minute video, you would have probably gone, let me go back to the gold so I can go pan for gold and find it. Anyway, It's 30 minutes. It's up.
That's what happens with when you get into overwhelm, right? You just start making sporadic decisions and you lose the framework.
Or you start procrastinating.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And
So if you,
I'm not talking about the really good procrastination called active procrastination. And for anyone who's read my Get Shit Done book, chapter 11 is all about active, but the first 10 chapters are all about passive. And the problem with passive is the devil, right? And then whatever you want to call the opposite of the devil is chapter 11. And chapter 11, ironically, is bankruptcy in the US. So I kind of, when I wrote the book, I didn't think about it like that. But interesting enough, I just only was reviewing It's Okay to Fail, the other book, Simone, that we give away to people on our list for their birthday. And chapter 11 is also, there's a chapter 11 in there, and I'm thinking I might rewrite that to talk about, hey, bankruptcy isn't final and isn't fatal. It might feel like that, but it's not. And I'm not speaking from experience. The only thing that I didn't do was go bankrupt. But I sure as hell have been in a mess that's worse than bankrupt. Anyway, that's it. I better run, because otherwise I can just mumble all day.
absolutely, Kristian Livolsi, thank you for your time and insights and allowing me to get you talking and giving away all the value every week. We are going to be live in Brisbane on Thursday, so I will see you in real life in 2 days' time. And keep an eye out on our socials, because we're going to have lots of fun things sharing over the next couple of days as we dive in and help our clients in the best possible way.
You know what we should do? We should do a couple of lives live. We should do a couple of lives. That sounded really stupid, because it was. We should do a couple of lives from the room, impromptu, and maybe showcase some of our amazing people in the tribe. Anyway, peace out. Let's hear from Adrian.
Working with Kristian is a game changer. Hi, I'm Adrian Lee from GrowthLink Coaching and Consulting. I started working with Kristian in August 2020 as his LinkedIn growth consultant. We worked together on his LinkedIn brand for about 12 months before becoming business partners in Growth Outsourced late 2021. Kristian is a hidden genius. He helped me break through a significant financial target by restructuring my growth consulting online business offer. I don't know of any one person who can give you so much focus, clarity, and structure to live your purpose and get shit done. He holds you accountable to your words and gives you the tough love when you need it. I love his no BS approach to business and life. Everyone needs a Kristian Livolsi in their life. Do whatever you have to work with Kristian. This is just the beginning for us, and I am super pumped to continue growing together. Thanks again, Kristian.